Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Mickle. Welcome to INN News. People on the Atlantic coast are keeping an eye on the latest storm called Emily. Right now, it's taking aim on Haiti, but expected to hit Puerto Rico perhaps tomorrow. People in San Juan are quickly emptying shelves at this supermarket. Emily is expected to dump up to 10 inches of rain in parts of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. It could skirt the east coast of Florida by early Saturday. As the storm gets closer, our meteorologists will begin tracking it for you. Even if Emily does not hit shore, the warm waters in the Gulf and Atlantic are ripe for tropical activity. Officials say now is the time to stock up on supplies, things like water, food, flashlights, and batteries. It's also a good time to go over your family's survival plan.
The first thing is that coming from August through September, that's when we have the majority of hurricanes, and therefore it's certainly a time when the homeowner ought to be cognizant of these facts.
You can check out nhc.noaa.gov to keep up on all hurricane activity. There's also a link on there telling you what should be in your emergency disaster kit. Florida's already been dealing with some severe weather. Those living in the tiny town of Tamarack are cleaning up after a tornado hit yesterday. Trees were toppled, roofs were ripped, and debris was scattered throughout the neighborhoods. Fortunately, though, no one was hurt. Well, more than a month in triple-digit weather, and now a small Texas town is drying up. Even if it doesn't rain soon in Robert Lee, the small town will have no water by next year. Their only source of water comes from Lake Spence. The lake levels have gone down dramatically. Many in this town never thought they'd see the day where their water could run out.
You know, we've got a big, nice lake out there. We'll always have water, but surprise, this is West Texas. It quits raining at times.
In 8 months, Robert Lee has had an inch of rain, 3 inches in the last year. The town's emergency plan is a 12-mile pipeline to the nearest water supply. Take a look at this odd chunk of metal. It was revealed after water levels in Lake Nacogdoches, Texas dropped. NASA confirms it's a piece of Space Shuttle Columbia, which broke apart midair in 2003 when returning to Earth. It's apparently a tank that provided power and water to the shuttle. Time for global news now. An ailing Hosni Mubarak, once a symbol of autocratic rule in Egypt, was wheeled into a Cairo courtroom in a hospital bed today to be tried on charges of corruption and conspiring to kill protesters. The former Egyptian president was placed in a black cage made of iron bars and mesh. 83-year-old Mubarak faces the death penalty if found guilty. France has ordered the extradition of the former leader of Panama, Manuel Noriega. A government spokesman says the ex-dictator was notified Friday of plans to send him back to Panama. He has a month to appeal. Panama wants him to face charges that he ordered a hit on a political rival. Noriega is currently in a French prison for money laundering. Japan-based Hitachi may no longer make TV sets in its home country. The company is considering stopping television production operations in Japan as part of a cost-cutting strategy. But Hitachi is staying in the TV-making business. It has been increasingly outsourcing its TV production lines to countries like Taiwan. Arnold Schwarzenegger's childhood home in Austria is now a museum. It was opened over the weekend to mark the 64th birthday of the former California governor and Terminator star. The museum features everything from Schwarzenegger's first set of weights to the original sword to the film Conan the Barbarian. The star himself plans to visit the museum sometime this fall. And that's your global news now. Well, never fear, Social Security checks will not be delayed. August checks will be in the mail or in recipients' bank accounts, thanks to the debt ceiling agreement signed by President Obama yesterday. Many had feared their payments would be held up as lawmakers clashed over how to solve the debt ceiling impasse. Thankfully, a deal went through and Social Security recipients will not miss a payment. Some 28 million payments are being made today, with another 27 million checks going out later in the month. Well, do you have a lot of medical bills? If so, Ryan Bass may have some good news for you in tonight's Back to Business.
Legislation in Congress could help Americans who've seen their credit scores drop because of medical bills. It would require the 3 major credit bureaus to remove records of medical debt up to $2,500 within 45 days of the debt being paid off. Currently, a single medical debt can knock out about 50 points from an average credit score, even if the debt was paid off years ago. A Rhode Island city drowning in debt has filed for bankruptcy. Central Falls, just north of Providence, was forced to seek court protection Monday after firefighter and police retirees refused to give up 50% of their pension. Without the filing, a projected $5.6 million deficit could have tanked the city by next June. A new survey of wireless phone users gives top marks to Verizon Wireless when it comes to customer service and satisfaction. Second was T-Mobile by a close margin. At the bottom of the list, AT&T, which recently announced plans to buy T-Mobile. Sprint was tied for the worst ranking. The survey also found that customers with contracts gave higher remarks to carriers than those without. Now, research says that customers with contracts also spend less time on hold than pay-as-you-go users. For Back to Business, I'm Ryan Bass.
A really sad story now. 2 women were killed, including one who was pregnant, when an SUV plowed into this Florida store yesterday. Miami-Dade police say the driver lost control of his vehicle after he accidentally hit the gas pedal. The crash instantly killed a pregnant employee and a customer. The woman's unborn baby also died despite the efforts to save it. The driver only suffered minor injuries. An investigation into that crash still underway tonight. A blown tire caused a nasty accident in Wisconsin that ended with a cement truck hitting a home. The driver lost control and crashed, tearing a hole in the building and ripping off siding. A woman inside the house was hurt, had to be taken to the hospital. The driver was also hurt. A joyous reunion when this teen was found after being missing for almost a day. 17-year-old Joseph Schellenberg was camping with his family in Summit County, Utah. He went missing from his tent sometime at night, but the family discovered it only yesterday morning. Search and rescue teams found him a couple of miles from the Crystal Lake trailhead. The boy is mentally challenged. He has the mental capacity of a 6 or 7-year-old. Well, sometimes cops don't have to chase the bad guys. Sometimes they just come to the front door. And that was the case in South Houston, Texas. Bill Archer has the story of a not-so-bright pot smoker.
Detective came out the rear entry.
According to the chief, 33-year-old Charles Powell was standing near his car right in front of a sign clearly marked police, smoking what appeared to be a cigar but was actually a cigar filled with marijuana.
He was here with a friend who was visiting someone in our jail.
The detective confronted Powell, allegedly found the blunt near his car and a 40-ounce can of beer inside the car.
And in 21 years, this is the first. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never encountered someone smoking marijuana in a police department parking lot.
Powell claims he wasn't smoking marijuana, just a cigarette. He's charged with drug possession. Well, it's time for back to school and spending a fortune, but many of you are cutting corners. What you're buying and not buying coming up. Plus, the milk van used to deliver, now it's moms delivering milk. Breast milk. Who's benefiting from this? Coming up on INN. And of course, we want to remind you INN News is on Facebook. You can also find us on Twitter at INN News Network. And on YouTube, all of this reaching out to you so you can reach out to us. INN News is coming right back.